Hello and welcome to this PHP exercise where we're going to look at dealing with form data. So this is a key area for PHP, handling data that users enter on forms. So this might be login data, it might be things to do with an online shop, it might be entering names and addresses for deliveries, it might be entering times and dates for planning flights and train journeys. So I'm going to start off with something really simple. A little form that might be part of an online ordering scheme where I just need to add my name and address into here, and when I click on this information, then we can see that I've got a processing page that displays the data that I've just entered in my form. So relatively simple thing to do. What we're trying to do at this stage is just make sure that we've got all the building blocks in place to get the data from the form onto a form processing page. So once we've got this working, we can build things up into a more sophisticated set of processing here. So in order to get this started, of course, I've made an EXO3 folder, and in that folder I've got my index page and my style sheet. So here is my home page, which contains my form. So we've done this before in JavaScript last year. If you can't remember or you didn't do it last year, then have a little look at an online tutorial for how to write some simple HTML forms. The key things to note, I guess, are we've got our start and end tag for the form. The method here is post, so we're always going to use the post method, and the action. So what happens when I press the submit button is that the browser will action this form by sending the data using the post method to this page, process.php. It's very important that you have a process.php page. So a common error is either not filling this in properly, or not filling this in at all, or having a misspelling or a typo between what you type in here and the actual name of your processing page file. Down here we've got some labels and 3 data entry areas. So one for my name, one for my house number, and one for my postcode. So I've got a type, so I'm using a text type for each of these. So it's important to remember that HTML5 has different types of data entry, so we can change this to radio buttons, drop down boxes, check boxes, but also for smartphone users or small screen device users where the keyboard needs to pop up, we can type an appropriate entry scheme in here. So it could be text, it could be a mobile number, it could be a date, and that will mean that your phone will pop up either an alpha keyboard or a numeric keyboard or a keyboard that has an @ symbol in if you say it's an email address and that kind of thing. So things to make it easier for the user. So I've used a text entry for all of those things, even though this is a house number, just in case people are living in a flat and the house number is something like 15A or 15B for 2 different flats in the same house. Okay, the last thing is the submit button here, which is a type submit, and I can change the value of it, which is what appears on the button. So that's my form. Now what I need to do is make a form processing page. So I'm going to save my index page, a copy of it. So I'm going to save this as process.php. So I don't want to start again with a completely blank page to start typing everything in. I'm going to start with something that I know works, which is my index page, make a copy of it called process.php, open up that copy, which is what we've got here now, and start to edit it. So this is my confirmation page or processing page, and I don't need the form anymore, so I'm going to delete that. And now I just need to edit some information in here. So I'm going to type confirmation let's call this order confirmation, and a little message that says thank you for your order, we will deliver it to. Okay, so I'm going to save this now. So I haven't written any PHP yet, but what I want to do is I want to check that this linkage works between my form page and my processing page. So in order to do that, you will need to upload your files to the server using FileZilla, as we did for exercise 1 and 2. And what I've done is I've actually got a local server running on my computer. So I don't have to do that, I can run locally, but it's because I'm using this thing called example XAMPP, and this runs a local server, which means I can operate without the need of the internet, without the need to use the university server at this stage. If you're good on computers, very confident, then I suggest you look in the notes and have a look at installing this or something equivalent on your local computer. Okay, so if I just look at the demo version of what I'm doing here, here is my order form. Let me just check by refreshing it that that's up to date. Enter my details in here, and then once I press my add address, we can see that I am going to the process page, process.php, and it says order confirmation, thank you for your order, we will deliver it to. So the right information is coming up. I'm confident that the linkage part of this is working, and that means that I can now go on to write some PHP. So let me just put my let me just put my PHP tags in here, and I'm going to put a little comment that says declare variables and get data from form. So it's good to write a few comments in just so to know what I'm doing. And don't forget that in PHP my variables start with $. I'm going to call the first one my name, and because I've used the post method to send the data to this page, there is a PHP function called $post, and that will allow me to get the information from the form. So the first thing I need to get is my name, and I need to use the exact label or the exact name that I've used here. The easiest way to do that, rather than retyping it, is to copy and paste it. Okay, so copy and paste that into there, and do the same thing 3 times. So copy and paste in PHP is good because it tends to mean, or it tends to reduce the amount of typing mistakes. So let me find my house. So this line is for my house number, and I'm going to call this my house, and the final line here is going to be my postcode, and I'm going to grab that from my form as well. Okay, so we've got that information now, and I'm now going to display name and address. So I'm going to use the echo command. So I'm going to type in here a paragraph, so we can remember that things that apply in quote marks in my echo are displayed without interpretation. So that will just send the P tag to the browser. The next thing that I want to happen is I want to send my name. Okay, so I want to send the variable value so it's not in quotes and I'm just using this value. I'd like to put a BR tag in here just to put a new line between everything, and then I'm going to echo dollar my house. Okay, so we can see that I've made a little error here. The colour coding is giving me a clue that because this is still in grey, I've missed my finishing quote off this line here. So replace that, and then in order to avoid typing mistakes, I'm going to use copy and paste to get another BR tag. I'm going to go echo dollar postcode in there, and then the final thing I'm going to do is echo the end tag in PHP. So once I've got that information in, I can then save that. Quick check to see whether it looks right, and then let's go to my test page here on my local server. So again, you would need to upload this to the university server using FileZilla to get this working if you weren't using XAMPP. And I don't need to refresh this page because I've not made any changes, but I need to resend it to the processing page. Okay, so we can see here that I've got something that's working. I've got my name coming through correctly, my house number, undefined variable postcode in here, so on line 33. So let's have a look at line 33. And okay, so I've mistyped that. So this is a great example of why copy and paste is a good idea. So that should say my postcode. Save that, go back here, submit it again, and you can see that the information is now coming through correctly. So it's perhaps a fairly simple presentation of this, and we can work on that if we want. So if I was to do that, then I can type in here, for example, something helpful or something friendly like your name, and I can use a dot to connect that string to the variable value. And again, I'll use copy and paste here. So your house number there, and here your postcode. So having done that, it's then really quick for me just to submit this again, and we can see that we've got a slightly better presentation. I could work on this a bit more using style sheets if I wanted to do that, but I think the main object of the exercise for this particular piece of work is for you to understand how to get information from your form to here to the processing page, and once you've done that, you've really cracked it.